On this edition with the headlines. Indian government talks tough to Dhaka over horrific killing of Hindus in Bangladesh. Ministry of External Affairs says these attacks can't be brushed aside as media exaggeration. Perpetrators must be punished. Indian origin man dies after being left unattended inside a Canadian hospital for 8 hours. Family's heart-wrenching pleas ignored as man collapses shortly after telling his dad, "I cannot bear the pain." Janhvi Kapoor calls out the hypocrisy in Bollywood over silence on lynchings of Hindus in Bangladesh, slams selective outrage in the film fraternity over things happening halfway across the world. Dhurandhar continues its dream run at the box office as it storms past the 1,000 crore mark, becoming the biggest hit of 2025, silences detractors who accused it of propaganda. Madras High Court bench recommends Union government to consider bringing in a legislation that regulates internet usage for minors like in Australia. Ministry of External Affairs says it's committed to bringing back all fugitives. This comes days after IPL chairman Lalit Modi posted a video with Vijay Mallya taunting the Indian courts and agencies. Karnataka IT Minister Priyank Kharge posts fake news showing rape convict and former BJP MLA Kuldeep Singh Sengar being welcomed outside jail, quietly deletes the post after being called out. India has now called out Dhaka and all of its lies as far as persecution of minorities, especially Hindu, goes. It's a sharp condemnation that has come to the fore of the atrocities against minorities in Bangladesh. The Indian government has also updated the number of violence cases against Hindus and Christians. 2,900 is the number of incidents of violence against minorities, is the clear stance that India has taken, that this is reality in Bangladesh and not media exaggeration like the Yunus administration wants it to be. MEA spokesperson confirmed that these reports of violence are not to be brushed aside. He also called for justice for all of those who have been killed, especially the Hindu youth Dipu Chandra, who was lynched by a mob on December 18th.
In the last several days, we have issued a couple of, or more than a couple of statements. We have rejected the false narrative that has been projected in Bangladesh. You would understand that law and order or security situation or the developments that are happening in Bangladesh is the responsibility of the government of Bangladesh. And to portray a narrative where things go in some other direction is completely false, and we reject that. The unremitting hostility against minorities in Bangladesh, including Hindus, Christians and Buddhists at the hands of extremists, is a matter of grave concern. We condemn the recent gruesome killing of a Hindu youth in Mymensingh and expect that the perpetrators of the crime would be brought to justice. Over 2,900 incidents of violence against minorities, including cases of killings, arsons, land grab, have been documented by independent sources during the tenure of the interim government. These incidents cannot be brushed aside as mere media exaggerations or dismissed as political violence.
You cannot dismiss this as political violence or other crimes. This is persecution of minorities, is a clear message that New Delhi has sent to Dhaka. It's the strongest ever condemnation that has come to the fore, especially in the recent past, after we saw mob lynchings, Islamists rule the roost in Bangladesh. The MEA there drawing the red line for Dhaka, making it very clear for the Yunus administration that none of these incidents are isolated ones and they cannot be brushed aside as media exaggeration. In fact, New Delhi has made it official. A number has been put to how many cases have come to the fore. 2,900 cases of violence against minorities have been reported in Bangladesh, was what the MEA came out and confirmed. The Yunus administration has been under immense pressure from India and from world over for being unable to protect minorities in the country, be it Hindus or Christians. Akanksha, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details on this. Akanksha, for the first time in the strongest ever reply, that New Delhi has not only condemned what's happening in Bangladesh, but also has put a number to how many instances has come to the fore.
Yes, important to highlight that, Poonam, right now, that this is the first official MEA statement or the press conference that's happening ever since the killing of Dipu Chandra and the other Hindu also who was killed, and the news of which has been going viral ever since yesterday. But more importantly, the number, the official figure that has been put out today by the Honorable MEA spokesperson Shri Ranveer Jaiswal is 2,900. Let's compare that with what was shared by Dr. S. Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister, in March this year, which was roughly close to over 2,400. So you can see a sharp increase of 500 minority killings. Majority of them are going to be Hindus. But as Ranveer Jaiswal also shared, he's condemned the killings against all minorities that has been happening unabated in Bangladesh, whether that's Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, and he's in fact gone on to demand justice for all of these minority killings from Bangladesh. He's gone on to place the onus on Bangladesh that the security situation is the responsibility of the Yunus regime. He said he's also enlightened everyone here in India that Delhi is very much in touch with Dhaka. 2 statements have already been issued. This also happens as the diplomatic tit for tat has been happening between, say, the summoning of the High Commissioners both in Bangladesh and India as well. But more importantly, that stern stand that India has taken, that they will not tolerate this kind of unabated killings of the minorities, is a reminder to the Yunus regime that they need to wake up, smell the coffee and take action against these minority killings, because he's also called out the kind of media exaggeration, the kind of misinformation that has been at play. He's also said that you cannot brand it as political killings, because remember, yesterday when Mandal's news arrived, they were saying that because he's an extortionist, he was killed. Does that give them the right to spread such kind of misinformation, which, as we all know, is also being peddled not just by the hardliners? Many of ISI's own media cells are currently operating very actively in Bangladesh. But MEA taking that firm stand, and of course the Ministry of External Affairs remains in constant touch with the Home Ministry as well. New Delhi is very much in touch with Dhaka. The word that we've been told about is that they're also saying that they need to crack down on the kind of minority killings that are happening unabated. What actions is India going to take now going forward? We are seeing the way the BJP is taken to the streets in Kolkata. The Hindu Munch, in fact, has gathered in Dhaka as we speak, all of them, in fact, speaking in unison. And as I have been highlighting, that it's not just Hindus who have been targeted. Yes, the majority of killings against the Hindus is a lot more, given that Christians only form 1% of the population. But remember, on Christmas Eve, there was a Molotov cocktail explosion at a church, in front of a church in Dhaka as well. So you're looking at a collective targeting of minorities by these hardliners, who, as we all know, have been given a free hand. At the same time, there was also a question posed to Ranveer Jaiswal about the return of Tariq Rahman, who, as we all know now, is the de facto leader and substitute for Khalida Zia, who is critically ailing. To that, Ranveer Jaiswal said that India supports free, fair and inclusive election, and that also applies not just to the BNP but also to the Awami League, as we all know, has been banned.
Right, Akanksha, we're seeing these kind of inputs, these kind of developments, actually play out there. Do stay on with us, because even as the Indian government has gone on to say that this is reality and not media exaggeration, like Yunus has pointed out. Unfortunately, in India, there's a section within politicians, within the opposition ranks especially, who've come out and questioned what exactly is happening in India, trying to draw a false equivalence. There are many within the AIMIM or the Samajwadi Party or the Congress who've come out and made controversial statements asking, why are we worried about minorities in Dhaka so much, not so much about minorities here in India? Pallavi, my colleague, also joins us now, getting us more perspective on that front. Pallavi, there are several people within the opposition ranks, several politicians who've come out and made such comments. Many a times their parties come out and say this is not the official party line and they're loose cannons. But the fact is that there is a certain section within India's opposition that believes that what India says as the official stance is not true.
But Poonam, this is not just one person. There are people after people who are pretty much saying the same thing. I mean, if you look at the Congress party itself, you have a Digvijay Singh and a Rashid Alvi. But did the Congress party officially step in to reprimand them? No, absolutely no. You also have Itija Mufti saying pretty much the same thing. We of course have the Imam who's addressing his constituency by saying that if you insult the Prophet, but naturally you can't expect the crowd not to lynch them or to kill them, even though he says that Islam does not allow this. But in both the cases of Dipu Chandra Das as well as in the case of Mondol, he made the larger point that they were killed not because they belong to a Hindi community, but because they were either extortionists or they were criminals. So basically, he's speaking the same language as the lynch mobs of Dhaka are speaking. But more than that, I would say it's worrying, Poonam, is the fact that even recognized political parties, national parties, which have been in power at the center, are also endorsing a line which seems to be that of many in Bangladesh. Because in Bangladesh media, local media, and even late night statement which came out from the Bangladesh government, they have been made pretty much the same point, that they were killed not because they were Hindus, they were killed because they were criminals. So you are speaking a language which suits the Bangladesh narrative, suits that of the lynch mobs, and hence you're emboldening them.
Absolutely, and that's what India has made it very clear, not just the BJP, the Indian government, New Delhi, the Ministry of External Affairs has come out and made it very clear that it's not media exaggeration, it's not some sort of finger pointing, but it's reality of what is transpiring in Bangladesh. But some within opposition ranks here continue to question and be in denial. Let's listen into some of those reactions.
वहाँ पर ये कहा जा रहा है कि हिंदुओं का नरसंहार वहाँ पर हो रहा है।
ये टारगेट किलिंग लफ्ज़ कहाँ से आया है, किसने दिया है? आप मुझे बताइए, वहाँ के जो लोग सड़कों पर हैं वो हिंदुओं के ख़िलाफ़ थोड़ा ही हैं, वो तो अपनी हुकूमत के ख़िलाफ़ रोज़गार, महंगाई, इस चीज़ को लेकर सड़कों पर हैं। कुछ घटनाएं हो गई, उसको जेनोसाइड या उसको टारगेट किलिंग कैसे कह सकते हैं? चलिए, अगर मैं आपकी बात को मान लूँ कि वो टारगेट किलिंग है, तो यहाँ हिंदुस्तान में मुसलमानों को जो जय श्री राम का नारा लगाकर मारा जा रहा है और 50 मुसलमानों को करीब जो है मौत के घाट उतार दिया गया जय श्री राम का नारा लगाकर, तो इसको आप टारगेट किलिंग क्यों नहीं कहते? इसको जेनोसाइड क्यों नहीं कहते मुसलमानों का? ये दोहरा मेयार क्यों है? इसको टारगेट किलिंग बिल्कुल नहीं कहते। दीपू दास को जिस तरीके से मारा गया वो तरीका इस्लाम में है नहीं, मैं उसको साफ मना करता हूँ, ये गलत है। लेकिन उसको मारा इसलिए गया, उसने मोहम्मद साहब के बारे में गलत बातें कही सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। जब आप किसी के मज़हब के बारे में या किसी के मज़हब के गॉड के बारे में या मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड के बारे में बुरा भला कहेंगे तो गुस्सा किसी को भी आ सकता है। जहाँ इस्लामी हुकूमत है वहाँ मोहम्मद साहब के बारे में गलत कहने वाले को जो सज़ा तय है वो दी जाएगी। लेकिन बांग्लादेश लोकतांत्रिक देश है, हिंदुस्तान लोकतांत्रिक देश है, ऐसे देशों में किसी को मारना ठीक नहीं है। इस्लाम भी कहता है इस बात को, मैं मना कर रहा हूँ। लेकिन उसको टारगेट किलिंग कहना, उसको ये कहना कि हिंदुओं के खिलाफ एक साजिश हो रही है और जेनोसाइड हो रहा है, ये बिल्कुल गलत।
पहले हमने देखा कि दिग्विजय सिंह और राशिद अल्वी कांग्रेस के नेता कैसे इस्लामिक जिहाद की वाइट वॉशिंग और लीपापोती कर रहे थे। कह रहे थे कि दीपू दास का मारा जाना रिएक्शन था, भारत में अल्पसंख्यकों को मारा जाता है इसलिए उसको मारा गया, और उसे जायज़ ठहराकर उसे लेजिटिमाइज कर रहे थे। और अब यही काम साजिद रशीदी नाम के एक भड़काऊ भाईजान ने भी की है। इससे पहले भी उन्होंने कई भड़काऊ बयान दिए हैं, पर अब वो कहते 10-12 हिंदू मारे गए तो कौन सी बड़ी बात है, ये कौन सी टारगेटिंग किलिंग है। ये दिखाता है कि कैसे हिंदुओं को दो गाली, हिंदुओं की आस्था से लेकर हिंदुओं के ऊपर करो चोट, और मिलना है वोट बैंक का वोट इसलिए करो इस्लामिक जिहादियों को सपोर्ट। ये इनकी मानसिकता और मंशा है। ये जिहाद बचाओ, जिहादी बचाओ गैंग है।
बांग्लादेश में जो हुआ बिल्कुल गलत था, मैं उसका निषेध करता हूँ। इस तरह का होना बिल्कुल गलत। बेगुनाह को मारना ये इस्लाम में कभी भी अच्छा नहीं समझा गया है, बहुत बुरी बात समझी गई है। वहां जो हुआ वो गलत है, वहां होता है। यहाँ ये यही करते हो ना आप, यहाँ मुसलमानों का लिंचिंग का कम करते हो, लेकिन यहाँ हो रहा है वहां इसलिए उधर होना चाहिए, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं। ये गलत बात है। ये बांग्लादेश के मुसलमानों ने जो किया उसका मैं निषेध करता हूँ।
The latest entrant in this denial ecosystem, so to say, is Asaduddin Owaisi's party, the AIMIM. Waris Pathan now says that we must look at our own country. Mob lynchings are happening here too. He adds that no religion teaches us to kill or attack an unarmed person. No religion permits mob killings. But why only speak about Dhaka? Why not about India?
भी उसकी पूरी तरह मैं मजम्मत करता हूँ, कंडेम करता हूँ। मैं घोर निंदा करता हूँ कि किसी को भी किसी की मॉब लिंचिंग करने का, उसको मारने का अधिकार नहीं है। कायदा कानून किसी को हाथ में लेने का अधिकार नहीं है। सबको रूल ऑफ लॉ फॉलो करना चाहिए और हम तो चाहेंगे कि भारत सरकार भी इंटरवीन करे, वहाँ की सरकारें जो है वो भी इंटरवीन करके रोके इसको कि कहीं पर भी माइनॉरिटी के ऊपर देखिए इस तरह अत्याचार नहीं होना चाहिए। कोई रिलीजन, कोई धर्म नहीं सिखाता कि आप निहत्थे किसी को मारो, सब मिलके उसका कत्ले आम कर दो। वहां पर भी और हम कंडन करते हैं। साथ ही साथ हमारे भारत देश के अंदर भी हो रही है ना मॉब लिंचिंग। हर आए दिन देखिए मुसलमानों को कभी गाय के नाम पे, कभी JSR नहीं बोला उसके नाम पे मॉब लिंचिंग कर देते हैं। तो हम तो उसकी भी निंदा करना चाहिए, सबको सब निंदा करना चाहिए। इस तरह की किसी को कायदा कानून अपने हाथ में लेने का अधिकार है ही नहीं। अब आपने बांग्लादेश की शेख हसीना साहब को यहाँ पे लाके रख दिया है हिंदुस्तान के अंदर, तो वो सारी चीजें सरकार को सोचना चाहिए कि क्या कर रहे हैं। हम तो चाहेंगे कि बिल्कुल जो लोग भी गिल्टी है मॉब लिंचिंग की, उनके खिलाफ बाकी सरकार भी कार्रवाई करे और भारत देश को भी इंटरवेन करना चाहिए कि इस तरह की ना हो। मगर भारत में भी जो हो रहा है मुसलमानों के खिलाफ मॉब लिंचिंग, बेगुनाह बेकसूर को मारा जाता है, उसके लिए भी लोगों को आवाज उठानी चाहिए, उसका भी कंडेमनेशन होना चाहिए। मगर यहाँ आप एग्जाम्पल देखो, 1 लाख का मॉब लिंचिंग करके उसको मार दिया। वो जब उसके मॉब लिंचिंग करने वाले दरिंदे अब बाहर बेल पे आए, फूल हार से इस्तकबाल किया गया। और अब इतना ही नहीं, वो सरकार बोलती है कि इनके खिलाफ केस ड्रॉप कर देंगे। तो अगर आप इतना बढ़ावा दोगे इस मॉब लिंचिंग करने वाले को, तो फिर रूल ऑफ लॉ कैसा चलेगा, कायदे कानून का क्या होगा। तो हम तो चाहते हैं कि कहीं पर भी मॉब लिंचिंग हो, उसकी घोर कंडेमनेशन, निंदा होनी ही चाहिए।
AIMIM is the latest entrant in the long list of politicians within the opposition ranks who have been questioning what exactly has been happening here in India, drawing a false equivalence, an off-color remark coming to the fore as far as a comparison being made between India and Bangladesh. Even after New Delhi has made it clear that there are at least 2,900 cases of violence against minorities in Bangladesh, making it very clear that this is not media exaggeration or political vendetta and cannot be brushed aside. They're not isolated incidents, but part of a pattern. Despite that, we see such sort of justification coming to the fore, giving a clean chit, many would say, to Bangladesh and to the Yunus administration, who should be made to feel the heat. And India should be leading from the front to ensure that justice is delivered to the families of these victims. Unfortunately, it looks like politicians within the country, within India, do not speak in one voice. Pallavi now joins us, getting us more details. Pallavi, we were talking about just this a short while ago. Many within the Congress, Iltija Mufti, now the AIMIM, all coming out and drawing this sort of comparison between Bangladesh and India. But facts belie that sort of comparison. There's absolutely no reason why they should be making that analogy. Pallavi? We'll get you more voices from the opposition there, but as far as voices from the opposition are concerned, that's something that both the Indian government and the BJP have come out and countered. But it's not just those who are questioning what's happening in Bangladesh and what's happening in India, but there are many who are completely silent, and there are many from Bollywood who haven't said a word. They are now being called out from within the film fraternity. Voices from Bollywood are speaking out against this anti-Hindu violence in Bangladesh. Manoj Joshi, Janhvi Kapoor, Jayaprada have all come out and slammed what they call the entertainment industry's selective silence. They've questioned why attacks on Hindus in Dhaka and Bangladesh are going unnoticed, while global issues get immediate attention. The parallel that is being drawn is of all of those film personalities, prominent personalities from the industry who have spoken out for Gaza and for Palestine, but not a word for the persecution of Hindus and minorities in Bangladesh. Why is that the case is what many actors have now come out and asked, joining the chorus to condemn the killing of Dipu Chandra and to demand action.
बांग्लादेश में टिपू चंद्र दास नाम के एक मासूम हिंदू भाई को भीड़ ने मिलकर मार डाला। सिर्फ मारा ही नहीं, उसे पेड़ पर बांधकर और उसे आग लगा दिया। यह सरासर मां लिंचिंग है, सीधा सनातन धर्म पर और हिंदुत्व पर प्रहार है। हमारे मंदिर तोड़े जा रहे हैं, हमारी बहनों इज्जत पर खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं, फिर भी हम चुप हैं। हम कब तक चुप रहेंगे? हम लोग सेक्युलरिज्म के नाम से अपने आंखें बंद करके चुप हैं। हम न्याय मांगते हैं, ये हिंसा बंद करना चाहिए।
निश्चित रूप से देखो, ऐसा है कि गाजा या फिलिस्तीन में होता है तो सब लोग बाहर आते हैं, लेकिन जब बांग्लादेश में एक निष्पाप हिंदू को मारा जाता है तब कोई बाहर नहीं आता। ये बड़ी दुख की बात है, बहुत दुख की बात है। बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि समय ही इसका जवाब देगा, ऐसा मुझे लगता है।
There were many actors who had come out and spoken about Gaza and Palestine, and as they rightly should have, raising concerns about the atrocities that were meted out in the war of terror that Israel had launched. But why is it that there are no voices coming out from the film fraternity, strong ones at that, against the persecution of minorities, especially Hindus in Bangladesh, is a question that many of these actors have asked. Janhvi Kapoor, in a heartfelt post that she put out on Instagram, spoke about if this does not wake us up, then what would? Kajal Agarwal, another actor, had taken to social media where she said that this is not the time to stay silent, but the kind of message that they are trying to send out has reignited a debate, yes, for sure, but hasn't really evoked a response from all those people that they're trying to reach to. Pallavi now joins us, getting us more perspective on this. Pallavi, this is something that we often see. We've seen several Bollywood personalities take a stance when it comes to certain issues, not choose to be apolitical at that time. But when it comes to issues like this, burning issues in our neighborhood, many of them are silent today.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a criticism, frankly speaking, not just about the celebrities, but also about many of our politicians, that why are they selective in their outrage? And many in the Congress party, if we can take some example, many from the Bollywood have also put up placards, carried a bag, or come out with public statements condemning what is happening in Gaza. But barring one or two of them, most of them have not even bothered to condemn the fact that Hindus are being targeted and attacked as far as Bangladesh is concerned. And this is the hypocrisy which many people are pointing out, that, you know, when you say you feel for human rights, you have to feel for it across the board. You cannot be selective in your outrage. And this criticism against many of our celebrities is also mounting because they prefer to choose their moment when they want to speak out.
Right, Pallavi, do stay on with us. Akanksha also joins us now, getting us some sort of perspective on this. And Akanksha, you know, this kind of woke behavior, as one would call it, that's something that's now being called out by their own. People from within the Bollywood are questioning their own colleagues as to why they're silent today.
Absolutely. From Anuj Joshi to say the likes of Janhvi Kapoor, it's interesting that Janhvi Kapoor at least and Kajal Agarwal have spoken. They are the younger lot of actors, and we need more youth voices from Bollywood, because as you rightly highlighted, when it comes to issues like Gaza or Palestine, all eyes are on Rafah. But the question to be asked today is, why aren't all eyes on Bangladesh today when this unabated killing against minorities has been happening, and why just Hindus, in fact even Christians, Buddhists, all of them have been targeted. India's External Affairs Ministry has already reacted to that with a figure of 2,900. You can already see there's a sharp increase of nearly 500 minority killings. There's so much anger brewing on the ground. There's protest happening in Kolkata. There's protest happening in Dhaka as we speak, because these Hindu organizations, the minority ones, they are begging for the Indian government to plead, as much as India is letting diplomacy play out and take its own course. The fact of the matter is that law and order, the overall security situation, is the responsibility of Muhammad Yunus. This is certainly going to amount to a genocide, what's been happening against the Hindus since July uprising of 2024, Poonam. And so the anger which you can see on ground level, why is this not reflecting as far as Bollywood is concerned? And time and again we've seen this selective silence, whether say It is actors like Dia Mirza, Priyanka Chopra, Richa Chadha, Shabana Azmi, Javed Akhtar, or even Nasiruddin Shah. They've been extremely vocal. They will sign memorandums talking about Gaza, talking about Palestine. But when it comes to taking a solid stand for these killings that have been happening unabated, in fact, we've also been, CNN News 18 has been reaching out to Hindu actors from Bangladesh, and they all have also been appealing to say the film industry in India, not just Bollywood, but remember India is known for its cinema, and voices from all across India now need to speak up. But as far as Bollywood is concerned, it's in fact heartening to see that at least Janhvi Kapoor has in fact called out this hypocrisy of the Bollywood actors so far.
Right, Akanksha, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. We'll of course keep an eye out on whether anyone takes the message from Bollywood or otherwise. We'll keep a track of that and much more here on Nation at 5. But for now, it's time for a quick break.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Voices from Bollywood are now finally speaking out against the shocking anti-Hindu violence in Bangladesh. Senior actor Manoj Joshi has slammed what he calls the entertainment industry's selective silence, questioning why attacks on Hindus go unnoticed while global issues get immediate attention. Actor Janhvi Kapoor, in a powerful post also, said extremism of any kind must be condemned, warning that our own brothers and sisters are being burnt alive while the world looks elsewhere. Kajal Agrawal and veteran star Jayaprada also joined in, calling the killing of Dipu Chandra barbaric.
बांग्लादेश में टीपू चंद्र दास नाम के एक मासूम हिंदू भाई को भीड़ ने मिलकर मार डाला। सिर्फ मारा ही नहीं, उसे पेड़ पर बांधकर और उसे आग लगा दिया। यह सरासर मां लिंचिंग है, सीधा सनातन धर्म पर और हिंदुत्व पर प्रहार है। हमारे मंदिर तोड़े जा रहे हैं, हमारी बहनों पर इज्जत पर खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं, फिर भी हम चुप हैं। हम कब तक चुप रहेंगे? हम लोग सेक्युलरिज्म के नाम से अपने आंखें बंद करके चुप हैं। हम न्याय मांगते हैं। ये हिंसा बंद करना चाहिए।
निश्चित रूप से देखो, ऐसा है कि गाजा या फिलिस्तीन में होता है तो सब लोग बाहर आते हैं, लेकिन जब बांग्लादेश में एक निष्पाप हिंदू को मारा जाता है तब कोई बाहर नहीं आता। ये बड़ी दुख की बात है, बहुत दुख की बात है। बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि समय ही इसका जवाब देगा, ऐसा मुझे लगता है।
All right, so there a post by Janhvi Kapoor over the killing of Dipu Chandra, which has now garnered a lot of attention, and it has started a conversation about selective silence and outrage when it comes to the Indian media industry as well. Janhvi Kapoor there urging people to look at the video and also ask questions, and asking people to engage in conversation and ask questions, saying that we will continue to cry about things halfway across the globe, but not when our own brothers and sisters are burnt to death. There's some of the other Indian film stars also coming forward and talking about the heinous, indefensible act, the killing of Dipu Chandra. In light of all that has transpired in Bangladesh in the past few weeks, the absolute lawlessness and chaos that we've seen there, celebrities are now calling out other people from the fraternity as well, talking about why they aren't coming forward and speaking about this and amplifying these voices and further using their platform to raise awareness about this as well. This is the latest that we are getting right now. There, Manoj Joshi also talking about how we're quick to talk about things that happen elsewhere across the globe, but not when it comes to our own brothers and sisters. And a similar sentiment that was echoed by Janhvi Kapoor in her post as well, where she's asking people to look at the video and ask questions and talk about what's happening in Bangladesh right now. Now, senior actor Manoj Joshi there, if you heard that statement right now, says the problem is very simple, that Hindus are attacked in Bangladesh and nobody bothers to take notice of them. But when something like that happens elsewhere, everyone takes notice of this. All right, for more on this, we have Vishal live with us. Thank you so much for joining us. There are a few people from the Indian film industry also coming forward, talking about what is happening in Bangladesh. Effectively, what they're calling for here is to talk about what's happening there and to ask questions, irrespective of what the background of these people may be. What's your take on what's happening?
Well, I think Bollywood personalities are publicly expressed shock and reacted to this incident. The first one, of course, is Janhvi Kapoor, who publicly expressed shock on Instagram yesterday. So as the other actresses like Kajal Agarwal and Jaya Prada. Even Manoj Joshi, the actor, has said, Bollywood is sometimes reluctant to react on hot topics, hot button issues like this. But I think people will react. Bollywood has been reacting and supporting causes and reacting to incidents, be it Gaza or lynching in other parts of the country. So I think Bollywood is sometimes reluctant, considering there's a politics involved to it, and they don't want to sometimes offend the fans. And most of the Bollywood celebrities we've seen like to stay away from hot button issues, especially involving incident what happened in Bangladesh. They've been incidents in the past where Bollywood has come forward and supported and raised their voice. Be it Salman Khan, who openly has being human born, who support the needy, so as other people. But some politics is something most of the actors like to stay away from.
Absolutely, and I believe that's exactly what they're talking about here as well, right? That the people aren't coming forward. All right, for more on this, we're also now being joined by Shana. Thank you so much for joining us on this as well. There are some of the Bollywood actors coming forward and talking about selective silence and outrage. What's your take on this?
Well, I'm glad that Bollywood is coming out and speaking on issues which they must speak up for, because this kind of atrocity against Hindus is most unfortunate. It is not just a particular case of Dipu Chandra, which was horrific to start with, but for all those who watch and politically comment, or not even comment, but just to stand up for Hindus and to stand up for Hindus who have lost lives in Bangladesh, I think is something we must all unequivocally stand with our government and our Prime Minister. You do know that there have been 4 people who have lost lives already, and I think that we must unequivocally speak in a united voice. And for all those who talk about the UNIS government, even Sheikh Hasina has come on record saying that no life should be lost and this is injustice to humanity. So if after 17 years, her son comes back after exile and he says that, he wants to work towards making sure Muslims, Hindus, Christians are treated alike, I think it should be it should be looked at holistically, because a Hindu man who was lynched for extortion has been killed. And this is after Dipu Chandra Das. So, in Rajbari district, where you have this incident comes days after the lynching of a 27-year-old. So there are 4-5 incidents which stem from violence and extortion. If Bangladesh's Tariq Rahman believes that he can give justice, he must give justice to Hindus first, because this is unspeakable atrocities and horrific precedents which are burning religious minorities to death in Bangladesh.
Right, now some would argue and have been arguing, in fact, that Janhvi Kapoor too has received significant flack about speaking about, when it comes to speaking about this, some saying that these are isolated incidents. Do you think such statements perhaps go on to further
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nation at 5. The Madurai bench of the Madras High Court has called for a legislation regulating internet usage for children. The court observed that the rising concerns over social media misuse, India must act to protect its young users. The High Court bench has also asked the state government to prepare an action plan to spread awareness on child's rights and safe internet practices until such a law is framed. The big question really is, though, that there are other countries that have tried to make such a legislation, Australia being one of them. Can India follow in that example to ban social media altogether for children under 16? Well, here's what the Madras High Court order said. That rising internet use was heightening children's vulnerability and the duty of parents. That centre may explore the possibility of passing legislations like in Australia. Till then, the court said that authorities shall push their awareness campaigns to vulnerable people, especially children, and to parents. They also said that the state and the centre must take the message to these vulnerable groups through all available media channels that can happen for them, that are possible for them. So why exactly are we discussing such a ban for children on social media? Well, there are two sides of it. Those who are for it say that children need to be shielded, especially from harmful algorithms that we see on social media apps or from cyberbullying. Those who are against it say that teenagers today are extremely smart. They would know how to bypass any of these blockades that are put in through. And if that happens, if they start using the dark web, if they start using VPNs, then that would be even worse. Those who are in favor of such a law say that this boosts mental health by reducing anxiety, depression and self-harm. On the other side, they say that this would isolate any of those vulnerable groups that we're actually trying to protect, and such a law would be counterproductive. Many of these platforms are addictive. The fact that you restrict the time for it, that means you block these kind of addictive behavior, that excessive screen time would be accounted for, and there would be accountability. This is what those who are in favor of such a legislation say. Now, those who are against, they say that this will only increase surveillance and that there would be no privacy for a child irrespective of what problem we are talking about. Those who are for such a legislation would say that platforms, especially social media platforms, based on what kind of content they give to children, must be held accountable if there is an issue with it. Those on the other side say that the legislation is not the way to go forward. Well, here are some key questions that we want to put out though. Can India verify age without actually hurting privacy? Is there a mechanism that can be put in place if such a law were to be enacted? Are digital literacy and parental control strong enough? What about schools? Do they depend too heavily on social media platforms these days? And if such a ban would come into effect, then what happens to the education aspect of it? Will bans actually push children to unregulated apps outside India? And that's something that is a cause of concern as well. Can the industry self-regulate, and can that be strengthened instead of bringing in such a blanket ban or such a wide law? How do we safeguard the access to education and to creative content? How do we distinguish that? That's something that is being debated as well. Akanksha, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more perspective on this. Akanksha, there are a lot of grey areas as far as such a legislation is concerned. Australia, of course, has taken the lead, but in India, it's going to be extremely difficult to follow suit, isn't it?
Absolutely. And remember, the blanket ban in Australia, which took place in December this year, has in fact been actively endorsed by the Albanese government, who has hailed this. More importantly, remember, Australia is the first country to ban social media for children below the age of 16. So Australia over here is becoming a very interesting case study, which is what the Madras High Court has also referred to, and urged the centre to come up with a ban similar on the lines of that what we have witnessed in Australia. You've already in fact shared some very key critical points, but if you speak to cyber experts and parents at the same time, you in fact are also made aware of two sides to the same coin over here. Parents are saying that their children mostly have nowadays in fact tasted social media, and so a blanket ban will not suffice, because let's also go by the example of Britain. Britain in fact introduced a Digital Safety Act, and soon after that act was introduced, there was a spike observed as far as the number of VPN consumption was concerned, and children are bound to also find ways to circumvent such a law. So will a blanket ban actually help, is the question that parents are posing. At the same time, if you bring in regulation, as is also being recommended through what the Madras High Court has had to say, they're saying that bring in a parental window where the control is provided to parents. Will that parental window ensure a robust name, identity, age verification? Will it be able to provide, say, user-friendly teenage content for the teenagers? All of these concerns have to be kept in mind, Poonam.
Absolutely, and both the states and centre will now have to look at it. For the moment, though, Akanksha, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that. We do have to shift focus to some breaking news that's now coming in, and this is coming in from Haryana, where a massive protest has erupted at one of the nursing colleges. This is in Hisar, following serious allegations of harassment and institutional management. There are allegations that have come in from several students at this particular college of sexual harassment by the staff, negligence on part of the institution of not taking their grievances into account. There are protests that broke out right outside the college as well, airing their grievances. Let's listen into some of those reactions.
सर पहले हमारी नॉर्मल जो हमारी डिमांड्स थी वो हॉस्टल को लेके थी, एकेडमिक्स को लेके थी, लेकिन उसके बाद ये सेक्सुअल और मेंटल हरासमेंट जो कॉलेज वाले कर रहे हैं उसके खिलाफ भी हमने आवाज उठाई। अब हमारी बात कोई सुन ही नहीं रहा है। प्रूफ भी हमारे पास हर एक चीज की। हमने हर एक डिपार्टमेंट में, एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट हो, हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट हो, सीएम के पास तक जाके आ चुके हैं। हम कुछ भी नहीं किया इन लोगों ने। हमें दबाने की कोशिश कर रही है पुलिस। हम लोग ये चाहते हैं कि चेयरमैन सर की गिरफ्तारी हो, बिकॉज हम बहुत बार फाइल कर चुके हैं FIR, लेकिन अब तक कुछ भी नहीं किया इन लोगों ने। हम चाहते हैं चेयरमैन सर गिरफ्तार हो जाए और माइग्रेशन हो जाए, कॉलेज बंद हो जाए। माइग्रेशन भी चाहिए हमें।
अंकित, my colleague now joins us, getting us more details. अंकित, और क्या जानकारी आप हमें दे सकते हैं? इन्वेस्टिगेशन चल रही है, क्या कॉलेज ने कोई भी संज्ञान लिया है इन allegations का? Is there any FIR that's filed, any investigation that's taking place?
बिल्कुल, जो एलिगेशन की बात है तो एलिगेशन हॉस्टल को लेकर के थे। जो ग्रीवेंसेस थी उनकी हॉस्टल को लेकर के थी कि हॉस्टल में टाइम, जो एक लिमिट का टाइम रख दिया था, एक समय रख दिया था कि इस समय तक हॉस्टल के अंदर आना ही आना होगा। तो इस तरह की ग्रीवेंसेस थी, लेकिन उसके बाद जो मामला बढ़ता चला गया तो उसके बाद अब छात्राओं ने जो आरोप लगाए हैं वो यौन शोषण के आरोप लगाए हैं। हालांकि इन आरोपों के अंदर कितनी सच्चाई है कितनी नहीं है ये तो अभी जांच के बाद ही पता चल पाएगा, लेकिन महिला आयोग की भी इसके अंदर एंट्री हुई थी और महिला आयोग ने भी साफ तौर पर जांच करने के बाद उनको आश्वासन दिया था कि वो जो कॉलेज प्रशासन है उससे बात करेंगे और इस मामले को सुलझाने की कोशिश करेंगे। लेकिन 15 दिन के बावजूद भी कोई जब कार्रवाई नहीं हुई तो आज फिर से छात्राओं ने ये इसके ऊपर ताला लगा दिया और बाहर आ गए, गेट के बाहर प्रदर्शन करने लग गए। तो पुलिस बल ने फिर उनको गेट के अंदर किया है और बाहर काफी पुलिस फोर्स खड़ी हो गई है। लेकिन जो मामला है वो कॉलेज में हॉस्टल में जो लड़कियों का हॉस्टल है उसको लेकर के है। कोई यौन शोषण जैसे आरोप हैं जो लगाए जा रहे हैं वो ऐसा नजर नहीं आता है, लेकिन अभी जांच जब होगी तो उसके बाद सच्चाई पता लग पाएगी कि क्या इन आरोपों के अंदर कितनी सच्चाई है। लेकिन पुलिस कार्रवाई कर रही है, पुलिस भी कार्रवाई कर रही है और महिला आयोग की भी, जैसा मैंने पहले कहा कि महिला आयोग की भी इसके अंदर एंट्री हुई थी और महिला आयोग भी इस मामले में कार्रवाई कर रहा है।
जी अंकित, धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए and for getting us those details. We'll keep a track of what transpires there in this case and the grave allegations that have come to the fore. For now though, it's time for a quick break on this edition of Nation at 5. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Do stay tuned.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Voices from Bollywood are now finally speaking out against the shocking anti-Hindu violence in Bangladesh. Senior actor Manoj Joshi has slammed what he calls the entertainment industry's selective silence, questioning why attacks on Hindus go unnoticed while global issues get immediate attention. Actor Janhvi Kapoor, in a powerful post also, said extremism of any kind must be condemned, warning that our own brothers and sisters are being burnt alive while the world looks elsewhere. Kajal Agrawal and veteran star Jayaprada also joined in, calling the killing of Dipu Chandra barbaric.
बांग्लादेश में टीपू चंद्र दास नाम के एक मासूम हिंदू भाई को भीड़ ने मिलकर मार डाला। सिर्फ मारा ही नहीं, उसे पेड़ पर बांधकर और उसे आग लगा दिया। यह सरासर मां लिंचिंग है, सीधा सनातन धर्म पर और हिंदुत्व पर प्रहार है। हमारे मंदिर तोड़े जा रहे हैं, हमारी बहनों पर इज्जत पर खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं, फिर भी हम चुप हैं। हम कब तक चुप रहेंगे? हम लोग सेक्युलरिज्म के नाम से अपने आंखें बंद करके चुप हैं। हम न्याय मांगते हैं। ये हिंसा बंद करना चाहिए।
निश्चित रूप से देखो, ऐसा है कि गाजा या फिलिस्तीन में होता है तो सब लोग बाहर आते हैं, लेकिन जब बांग्लादेश में एक निष्पाप हिंदू को मारा जाता है तब कोई बाहर नहीं आता। ये बड़ी दुख की बात है, बहुत दुख की बात है। बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि समय ही इसका जवाब देगा, ऐसा मुझे लगता है।
All right, so there a post by Janhvi Kapoor over the killing of Dipu Chandra, which has now garnered a lot of attention, and it has started a conversation about selective silence and outrage when it comes to the Indian media industry as well. Janhvi Kapoor there urging people to look at the video and also ask questions, and asking people to engage in conversation and ask questions, saying that we will continue to cry about things halfway across the globe, but not when our own brothers and sisters are burnt to death. There's some of the other Indian film stars also coming forward and talking about the heinous, indefensible act, the killing of Dipu Chandra. In light of all that has transpired in Bangladesh in the past few weeks, the absolute lawlessness and chaos that we've seen there, celebrities are now calling out other people from the fraternity as well, talking about why they aren't coming forward and speaking about this and amplifying these voices and further using their platform to raise awareness about this as well. This is the latest that we are getting right now. There, Manoj Joshi also talking about how we're quick to talk about things that happen elsewhere across the globe, but not when it comes to our own brothers and sisters. And a similar sentiment that was echoed by Janhvi Kapoor in her post as well, where she's asking people to look at the video and ask questions and talk about what's happening in Bangladesh right now. Now, senior actor Manoj Joshi there, if you heard that statement right now, says the problem is very simple, that Hindus are attacked in Bangladesh and nobody bothers to take notice of them. But when something like that happens elsewhere, everyone takes notice of this. All right, for more on this, we have Vishal live with us. Thank you so much for joining us. There are a few people from the Indian film industry also coming forward, talking about what is happening in Bangladesh. Effectively, what they're calling for here is to talk about what's happening there and to ask questions, irrespective of what the background of these people may be. What's your take on what's happening?
Well, I think Bollywood personalities are publicly expressed shock and reacted to this incident. The first one, of course, is Janhvi Kapoor, who publicly expressed shock on Instagram yesterday. So as the other actresses like Kajal Agarwal and Jaya Prada, even Manoj Joshi, the actor, has said, Bollywood is sometimes reluctant to react on hot topics, hot button issues like this. But I think people will react. Bollywood has been reacting and supporting causes and reacting to incidents, be it Gaza or lynching in other parts of the country. So I think Bollywood is sometimes reluctant, considering there's a politics involved to it, and they don't want to sometimes offend the fans. And most of the Bollywood celebrities we've seen like to stay away from hot button issues, especially involving an incident what happened in Bangladesh. They've been incidents in the past where Bollywood has come forward and supported and raised their voice. Be it Salman Khan, who openly has being human, who support the needy, so as other people. But some politics is something most of the actors like to stay away from.
Absolutely, and I believe that's exactly what they're talking about here as well, right? That the people aren't coming forward. All right, for more on this, we're also now being joined by Shana. Thank you so much for joining us on this as well. There are some of the Bollywood actors coming forward and talking about selective silence and outrage. What's your take on this?
Well, I'm glad that Bollywood is coming out and speaking on issues which they must speak up for, because this kind of atrocity against Hindus is most unfortunate. It is not just a particular case of Dipu Chandra, which was horrific to start with, but for all those who watch and politically comment.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5. Days after Prashant Srikumar, a 44-year-old Indian origin man, died of suspected cardiac arrest while waiting for treatment in Canada at the Grey Nuns Hospital in Edmonton. A video of his wife has now gone viral on social media, where she's seen recounting the ordeal faced by her husband and the family during the 8-hour-long wait in the emergency room. In the clip, Niharika Srikumar, standing in front of her husband's mortal remains, blamed the hospital administration for his death. "This hospital killed my husband," were her clear words. There is a reaction that has come in from the Indian government as well, pointing to the fact that Srikumar was an Indian origin Canadian national, which is why the Canadian administration must take note of what has transpired and take action. But this video that has now gone viral details what exactly transpired and how the hospital staff behaved in a negligent manner. For 8 hours, he laid in the triage area of the emergency room, complaining of constant severe chest pain, and yet there was no attention that was paid to him. She also goes on to say that the doctors there or the nurses there only gave him a Tylenol and said that he was good to go home. Eventually, while waiting, he stood up to leave. That's when he fainted and collapsed. When somebody showed up to try and attend to him, that's when they realized that he had no pulse and declared him dead. For those 8 hours, he lay there in severe pain, but his pleas, the pleas of his families, all went on deaf ears. This is the Grey Nuns Community Hospital in Edmonton in Canada. The Indian government has also now reacted. Ministry of External Affairs has also come out and responded that it is up to the Canadian government to see what can be done and for the Canadian government to take action, because he was a Canadian national. Yes, he's of Indian origin, but he is somebody whose family had migrated to Canada and is now a national there, which is why the answers lie with the Canadian government. Siddhant, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details on this. Siddhant, this video of the victim's wife is now going viral on social media, where she's blaming the hospital. The Indian government has reacted, but any response from the hospital concerned or the Canadian administration?
Well, that's right, Poonam. In fact, we have a response from the hospital. Now, hospital has to say that this matter is under review, and all we can say is that patient is our top priority. So, something on these lines, they have come up with a response. In fact, we did ask this question to the spokesperson of Ministry of External Affairs. So, he has to say that this person is of Indian origin, but a Canadian national, and it is the responsibility of the Government of Canada to get this case properly investigated. Now, this case has come to light after the video testimony of victim's wife went viral, where she's alleging that for 8 hours her husband was not given proper medical treatment, despite several complaints being lodged with the hospital that he's feeling pain in the chest. His BP is going up, but despite that, he was just given a basic treatment, not taken. Hospital staff did not take the patient seriously, and because of which he lost his life. So it once again raises question on the condition of hospitals in the developed world. In fact, Poonam, not the first case. We have been hearing and reading about horrifying stories of the people of their hospital experiences in United States, in Canada, how these hospitals are running short of staff. Patients are not attended properly, expensive, things like that. And once again, this is very unfortunate. And in fact, there are set protocols. Perhaps it is expected from the Government of Canada now to lodge a proper investigation into the matter and hold a hospital responsible.
We're given to understand that this incident is from the 18th of December. Only the video is now going viral, which is why such kind of concerns are being raised. Despite it being close to 10 days now, no word from the Canadian administration?
No words, Poonam, that's right. Because this video has gone viral today, so, in fact, it has got a lot of media attention also. But from last 10 days, there has not been any progress made, or we have heard of any arrest action or a legal action being taken against the hospital by the government. As we were discussing before also, Poonam, there are set protocols in every country where there is a particular ward for the emergency patients, and if a patient requires urgent medical attention, then that patient is taken to that ward and treated properly. That's the protocol everywhere in India, United States, Canada. So, it needs to be seen whether hospital was in violation of that protocol in Canada, what exactly unfolded, why he was not attended by the doctors, whether there were no doctor available. So all these things should be properly investigated. And the Canadian government, as Minister of External Affairs also said, that it is the responsibility of the Canadian government to get this case properly investigated, and perhaps should come out.
Just on that front. Let's now get you a quick roundup of everything else that's made news in the country. Panic gripped the PV Narasimha Rao Expressway after youth burst firecrackers and fired rockets from a moving car, endangering commuters and passers-by. The act was caught on video that went viral, which has led to the arrest of these youth for reckless behavior. A woman IT firm manager has alleged she was gang-raped in a moving car in Udaipur after a birthday party, accusing her company's CEO, a woman executive, and her husband. Police have now registered a case detaining the 3 accused, and further investigation is underway. PMK's internal rift deepens as Junior Ramados sacks veteran leader and honorary president GK Mani for anti-party activities. The move comes amid open factional war with senior Ramados camp warning legal action over alliance talks. Dhurandhar has been running successfully in cinemas since its release on December 5th and has already become the highest-grossing Indian film of 2025. The blockbuster has now entered the prestigious 1,000 crore club at the global box office, cementing its position as one of the biggest hits in recent years. Well, the year is about to end, but what does it look like for the world of entertainment? What has 2025 been really? As part of our year-ender series, we sat down with members of the film fraternity. Wordsmith Irshad Kamal and several singers sat us down and spoke about what exactly was the year 2025 for them. This is through their lens.
A brass band recently was playing Sayyara title track at a wedding. So I rang up few Shadi ke bands in Delhi and I asked them which are the songs they generally play at the wedding. So they told me the top one is Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi Hai. Then Gajrare, then there was Pushpa Pushpa, Moja Hi Moja, Ishq Wala Love. Apart from these streaming numbers that we see are flash sometime across the city, how important it is for you when your song is part of a Bharat playlist? Because do you feel that is the peak of a song's popularity? Because that's where the masses are actually dancing to your music.
See, मुझे ऐसा लगता है विशाल, हम ना खुद ही अपने एक ना कैटेगरीज बनाते रहते हैं. जैसे एक टाइम पे हम खुद ही ये कह रहे थे कि जो ऑटो में बज गया गाना मतलब हिट हो गया. या अभी आपसे मैंने ये सुना कि जो बारात में या शादी में बज गया गाना हिट हो गया. एक गाना जब जाता है मासेस तक जाता है, वो बारात में भी जा सकता है, वो अकेले में भी आदमी गुनगुना सकता है, वो आदमी गाड़ी में भी बजा सकता है. बेसिकली इट्स अबाउट द रीच ऑफ द सॉन्ग. लेकिन ये है कि ये कोई क्राइटेरिया नहीं है. क्राइटेरिया ये है कि कितने लोगों की प्लेलिस्ट में वो गाना है.
मेरे बचपन में मैं एक गाना बहुत सुनता था जो बैंड में प्ले होता था, और वो गाना था बप्पीदा का, और वो गाना था आई एम ए डिस्को डांसर, वो पम पम पम. तो ये इतना कमाल जाता था उसके साथ में, वो गाना मैं कभी भूल नहीं सकता.
मेरे को ना एक ट्यून है, That is my favorite. मुझे लगता है उसमें कोई गाने की जरूरत नहीं, लेकिन वो पता है कि वो जब बजेगा That is my favorite.
शहनाई
नागिन में चला जाता ना वो. नागिन दो मिक्स हो गए
वो एक मेडली बन जाता है.
मेडली I like those kind of थिंग जो शादी बैंड, दैट इज माय चाइल्डहुड मेमोरी कि ये जब बजते हैं किसी दूसरी गली में बजते थे, हम जाके खड़े हुए किसकी शादी है भाई, खाना मिलेगा, ये जाके आइसक्रीम खाते थे।
मुझे ना फिलर आता है ना टैम पैम पैम, तो उसके साथ में इतना करेक्ट जेल होता था ना। फिर एक गाना,
सिंगर्स थे ना तो हमें वो फिल्स वगैरह याद रह जाते थे।
एक गाना मुझे ना अमित त्रिवेदी का वो वाला गाना जो तौबा तेरा जलवा तौबा तेरा प्यार तेरा इमोशनल अत्याचार डांग 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 डांग।
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Over the past few weeks, reports of attacks on Hindus in Bangladesh have sent ripples not just across India, but now finally across the world as well. Be it the brutal lynching of Dipu Das or the killing of another Hindu youth, Amrit Mandal, homes of Hindus that have been targeted and set ablaze. This is just the tip of the iceberg, what is seen and cannot be suppressed. Bangladesh insiders, in fact, have been pointing to grave conditions under which minorities of all hues are surviving in Bangladesh. A brave voice from the film industry now has opened up a larger debate of Indian silence on these atrocities, calling out hypocrisy over such matters. But then it's not just her, others have also voiced their concerns. Where is the rest of Bollywood though? Because this is the same industry that united so passionately about what's unfolding in Gaza, for example. Their social media feeds were flooded with statements, hashtags, calls for justice. They're also very vocal when minorities are attacked in India. But then, why does the same passion not come out when Hindus are attacked? In India, the moral argument made is that Hindus are majority community in India, so it doesn't need the same amount of attention.